Applied Economics Insights. My name is Aman Shukla. She is Divyanshi, Kavish, and Swikriti. And today we are here to interact on the topic of public distribution system known as PDS. Meaning of PDS. PDS is a food security system that was established by Government of India under Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution Department to distribute food and non-food items to India's poor at substantial rates. Major commodities distributed include staple food grains such as wheat, rice, sugar, and essential fuels like kerosene through a network of fair price shops known as ration shop or public distribution shops established in several states across the country. Food Corporation of India is a central government corporation which procures and maintains the public distribution system. Food is procured from net food surplus states such as Punjab and Haryana. Nearly 70 to 90% of wheat is and 20 to 24% of rice is produced by them to food and given to food deficit states or net negative producer states, such as, according to the census of 2011, more than 5 lakh shops of fair price shops are there in India. The rural and urban data of BPL and APL are that wheat and rice of to BPL is distributed at 35 kg and APL is 15 kg. The rates are fixed and allotted by central government and state government respectively. So before moving further, let's discuss about some terms that are central issue price, a price at which the center allocates food grain to state. This can also be considered as the price at which food grain is distributed. For example, rupees 1 for nutri-cereals, rupees 2 for wheat, and rupees 3 is for rice. Minimum support price. A minimum support price is at which central government buys the food grains from the farmers. The minimum support price is a price that the central government announces before the sowing period. Third is the procurement price, the price at which the government of India actually buys food and food grains from producers so as to maintain buffer stock or the public distribution system. They are higher than the MSP. Well, now I hope that you have all got this now. So let's move to history and updates of the PDS. The first phase is 1952-1997. That is the expansion phase. The origin of PDS to go back in system of food rationing introduced by Britishers during Second World War, but it was not needed. So again, after independence, PDS was launched because of some inflationary pressures. PDS was invented in 1960 because of urban food shortages. It gained boost in the year 1964, where Food Grains Pricing Committee was established, and this community gave the concept of MSP. The need of PDS was to reduce imports and promote agriculture in the society, to increase employment in agricultural sector, and to elevate poverty programs. PDS is both led by central and state government, hence it gained strength under state-led schemes. The fair price shops increased from 50,000 to in 1960 to 3,50,000 in 1991, and food grain distribution increased from 5 million tons in 1960-61 to 16 million tons in 1991-92. Now, second phase is revamped PDS, which was launched in June 1992. The RPDS was launched in June 1992 with a view to streamline and strengthen PDS, as well as to increase its reach in far-flung, hilly, remote, and inaccessible areas where a substantial section of poor lives. It covered 775 blocks, wherein area-specific programs such as Drought-Prone Area Program (DPAP), Desert Development Program (DDP), and Designated Hilly Area Program (DHA) were launched. Food grains under RPDS was issued to state at 50 paise less than the central issue price. The scale of issue was rupees 20 per card. Additionally, distribution of card to left-out families, infrastructural requirement like additional fair price shops, warehouse construction, etc. Additional commodities distribution by states such as tea, salt, pulses, soap, etc. were also included in revamped public distribution system. The drawbacks of RPDS were more and more was distributed to above poverty line, urban biasness, negligible coverage in poor states with large population in rural areas, leakages and supplies of inferior grain. Now the third phase is targeted PDS. In June 1997, TPDS was launched. The main aim was to focus on poor. The government wanted to directly subsidize DPL and discourage DPL families that were to be benefited. But the biggest question raised was, who is the poor? The identification of poor was done under state schemes. This was the state-wise poverty estimate of Planning Commission for 1993-1994 based on methodology of expert group estimation of proportion and number of poor, which was chaired by late Professor Lakdawala. The allocation of food grains to state and union territories made on basis of average consumption of past 10 years at the time of TPDS. The quantum of food grains, also known as transitory allocation to BPL, was 103 lakh tons annually. The left food grains was distributed to above poverty line. The scheme initiated to benefit 6 crore families with 72 lakh tons of food grains annually. Under TPDS, the end retail price was fixed by state and union territories after taking the margin of wholesalers, retailers, transportation, etc. This flexibility was given by year 2001 to states. Some data. Under targeted public distribution system, each poor family entitled 10 kg of food grains at subsidized rate. This increased in April 2000. APL was getting 10 kg at the rate 100% of economic cost. BPL was getting 20 kg at the rate 50% of the economic cost. Now moving further to central state responsibilities. Under National Food Security Act NFS, central government is responsible for financing subsidy needs, procurement, allocation, storage, bulk and transportation of the food. The state government is responsible on distribution of food grains, identification of poor, issue of ration cards, monitoring on distribution system in India. Also regulated price, providing additional food quantities, etc. Well, now I request Divyanshi to enlighten us further.
Now we discuss about the some importance of PDS. Firstly, proper distribution of food grains. Mainly government focus on the backward areas for the distribution of food grains are the peoples who are below the poverty line. It has helped in redistribution of food grains by supplying food from surplus region of the country to deficit region. There are some data of on distribution of food grains are as follows. Food grains production during the year 2021-22, 3.15 million ton, and the second free food grains to about 81.35 crore beneficiaries under NFSA. For 1 year from 1st January 2023, the government introduced One Nation, One Card policy in all state and union territories. Under PM Garib Kalyan Yojana, government allocated 100 million ton food grains to state and union territories during COVID-19. Second point, normalization of food prices. It has helped in stabilizing food prices and making food available to the poor at affordable prices. Third point, to maintain buffer stocks. It maintains the buffer stock of food grains in the warehouse so that the flow of food remain active even during the period of less agriculture food production. Fourth point was minimum support price. The system of minimum support price and procurement has contributed to increase in food grains production. MSP announced by government at beginning of sowing seeds to protect farmer producer against excessive fall in price during bumper production years. It was a guarantee price which was paid by government. Latest MSP Kharif frost price 2022-23 cost of production increased bajra 82%, tur dal 58%, soybean 52%, urad dal 51%. Rabi crop prices during the year 2024 and 25: masoor 425 per quintal, mustard 200 per quintal, wheat 150 per quintal, and barley 115 per quintal. Aadhaar and PDS. Integrating Aadhaar with TPDS will help in better identification of beneficiaries and address the problem of incursion and expulsion errors. According to a study by a Unique Identification Authority of India, using Aadhaar with TPDS would help eliminate duplicate beneficiaries and make identification more accurate. Issue of smart cards in place of ration card in the state of Haryana and Andhra Pradesh. Computerized allocation of FPS, SMS-based monitoring. Citizens register their mobile number and receive SMS alert during dispatch and arrival of DPDS in the state Chhattisgarh, UP, and Tamil Nadu. Then the last point was to reduce import and become self-reliance. Reducing India's reliance import is an important goal, particularly in areas where domestic output must be increased. Identifying key industries and putting policies in place to increase local production and consumption of commodities will help India become more self-sufficient. There are some shortcomings of PDS are as follows. Identification of beneficiaries. Studies have shown that targeting mechanisms such as TPDS are prone to large incursion and excursion errors. These imply that entitled beneficiaries are not getting food grains, while those that are ineligible are getting undue benefits. Leakage of food grains. Transportation leakage, back marketing by FPS owner. TPDS suffers from large leakages of food grains during transportation to and from ration shops into the open market. Issue with storage. A performance audit by CAG has reduced a serious shortfall in the government storage capacity. Discourage crop diversification. The provision of minimum support price has encouraged farmers to divert land from production of coarse grains that are consumed by poor to rice wheat, thus discourage food diversification. Fifth point was environmental issue. The overemphasis on attaining self-sufficiency and surplus in food grains, which are water intensive, has been found to environmentally unsustainable. Sixth point, urban bias. There is no criteria as to which families above or below the poverty line. This ambiguity gives massive scope for corruption and fallouts in PDS system because some who are immune to benefit are not able to. Irregular identification. The recent development of Aadhaar UIDA card has taken up the challenges of solving the problem of identification and distribution of PDS service along with direct cash transfers. TDS versus cash transfer. National Food Security Act 2030 provide for reforms in the TPDS including schemes such as cash transfer for provisioning of food entitlement. Since 1990s, there have been repeated calls to replace the PDS with a cash transfer. These were at least partly motivated by the high levels of leakages observed from the PDS. Cash transfers are viewed as a more efficient way of transferring a given value of transfer with a lower transaction cost. The reduced middleman in the process of make cash transfer seem less prone to corruption. Cash transfer render greater choice to beneficiaries by allowing them to choose whether they want to send the other extra income on food or some other commodity. Direct benefit transfer aim to reduce the need for huge physical movement, provide greater autonomy to beneficiaries to choose their consumption basket, enhance dietary diversity, reduce leakages, facilitate better targeting, promote financial inclusion. Now the schemes were discussed by my friend Security.
Schemes under PTS. First is Antodaya Anna Yojana, a national survey exercise pointed towards the fact that about 5% of the total population of the India sleeps without 2 square meals a day. This section of the population is called hungry. In order to make TPDS more focused and targeted towards this category of population, the Antodaya Anna Yojana was launched in December 2000. One for the 1 crore poorest of the poor families. Antodaya Anna Yojana involved poorest of the poor households of the BPL covered under TPDS, and the grain was distributed to them at a highly subsidized rate at rupees 3 per kg rice and rupees 2 per kg wheat. The state was required to bear all the expenses or the cost, including distribution, leadership, and transportation. It involved three phases. The first expansion. The AAY scheme was expanded in 2003 to 2004 by adding another 50 lakh BPL households headed by widows or terminally ill persons or disabled person, a person aged above 60 years or more with no assured means of subsistence or social support. In order to this effect was issued on 3rd June 2003. With this increase, that is 23% of BPL families were covered under the AAY. Second expansion, as announced in the Union Budget 2004 to 2005, the AAY was further expanded by another 50 lakh BPL families by including inter alia all households at the risk of hunger. Order to this effect was issued on 3rd August 2004. In order to identify these households, the guidelines stipulated the following criteria. First, landless agricultural laborers, marginal farmers, rural artisans, craftsmen such as potters, tanners, weavers, blacksmiths, carpenters, slum dwellers, and persons earning their livelihood on the basis of on daily basis in the informal sectors like potters, coolies, rickshaw pullers, handcart pullers, fruit and flower sellers, etc., and other similar categories in both rural and urban areas. Household headed by widows or terminally ill person, disabled person, person aged 60 or above with no assured means of subsistence or social support. Third expansion, as announced in the Union Budget 2005 to 2006, the AAY was expanded to cover another 50 lakh BPL households thus increasing its coverage to 2.5 crore households, that is 38% of BPL. Order to this effect was issued on 12th May 2005. Second was the Annapurna Yojana. The Annapurna scheme or the Annapurna Yojana aims to fulfill the needs of the senior citizen who, despite being eligible, have not received benefits under the National Age Pension Scheme by providing food security. 10 kg of food grains is to be given to the beneficiary of the Annapurna scheme free of cost every month. The program was introduced by the Ministry of Rural Development in 2000 to 2001. The scheme is a part of the National Social Assistance Program, which was launched in 1995 to provide support to aged person, disabled person, widows, and bereaved families after the death of the primary breadwinner. Under this program, 10 kg of the food grains are given each away month to the elderly above 65 years of age and indigent who are poor and live on little to no income. The target was set by the Indian government at 552,215, which represents 20% of those who are eligible for the National Old Age Pension Scheme, but are not receiving it for a variety of reasons. The selection of beneficiaries and method of implementation is flexible for the states. The food grains are distributed to the state governments in accordance with the regulation at BPL rates. Now over to Kavish.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kavish, and I would like to shift your focus on NFSA, that is National Food Security Act 2013. It was in 10 September 2013, the act was established. It ensured the affordability, accessibility, and the quality of food grains that should be distributed to the beneficiaries. And what it led is that the lactating mother, the provisions of NFSA Act helps us, the lactating mothers, to ensure food security. And after the child is born, after the 6 months, they are to be given the 6,000 rupees and the food security as well. And 18 plus years age of a girl is considered as a head of the family. Now I would like to shift the focus on the issues in implementation of the public distribution system and its various corrections that needs to be done. The first issue was quality. The quality is degraded by the FCI or the state government when it is transferred, when it is transported from the FCI godowns to the state godowns. And the second issue is a leakage. Leakage, we see 50% of the leakage of food grains is there, and the 100% of food grains is not available to the beneficiaries. We can take the example of the Tamil Nadu model and the Kerala model and Nepal model and the Chhattisgarh model. What they did is that they colored the trucks in yellow in color, and whenever the food grains was transported to the state godowns, whenever the public sees them, and it was identified as a food grain truck, and if it were diverted in a different way to the MPs, MLAs godowns, then the local authoritarians were mentioned and the strict action could be taken. What we can take help from Nepal PDS is that what earlier was used to be done is that the food grains was the only priority. That's why India is lacking in the hunger index. And what needs to be done is that as Nepal PDS also ensure nutritional security like dal and other grains, so that the nutritional aspect could also be held and it should be implemented. And there is an issue of inclusion and exclusion error. Inclusion error means that a lot 61% of the of the beneficiaries are not being included in the beneficiaries list, and the 25% which are not to be included in the beneficiary list are listed anyway. So the Tamil Nadu government, what they did is that they supplement the universal PDS system. What helped in that the food grains will be available to all the beneficiary, irrespective of the caste, gender, and their income, so that the error of inclusion and exclusion will be eliminated. So this was my time in public distribution system. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.